Hey, everybody. Wanted to take a few minutes of your time here, hopefully as an investment, and go through this GPS that I've been sharing with people through the business planning clinic that Coach Lindsay and I ran, and through some of the other group coaching events that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So this is the GPS that we got from Gene Rivers on the National MREA Business Planning Clinic. I've written down some notes here, hopefully for you to get a little bit more clarity. He wrote this based on a level 4 team, right? So that's someone who's doing 120 units per year. And I know some of us have that goal to be at that number or more. So I wanted to lay this out so you could see it on paper and know that you don't have to do 120 units per year for this to work. This is an overriding GPS that will work for every single person that I coach, and is a systematic way for you to plan your business, right? So reminder for all those involved, a GPS is your goals, your priorities, and your strategies when it comes to your business, right? We know that we are in the first month. It's November right now. We're in the first month of our next year. Okay, so anything that goes on your books from now till November 14th, maybe it closes in this calendar year, but more than likely it closes next year, right? So we're looking at your business plan for next year, right? So your goal is taken from your economic model, right? That's the form that we used to go through. It's from the MREA, where you're determining how much money do you want to net next year, running through the numbers so we can calculate out how many appointments you need to make sure that that happens. Now, as a little caveat here, I put it's clarified by your Life by Design form. That Life by Design form is part of the budget model, right? And if you remember the 4 models of the MREA, right? Remember ELBO, you've got economic, lead gen, budget, organizational, right? So the budget model is the 3rd one in the series, right? I bring it forward so that way, you know, when you say, hey, I want to make $100,000, I want you to be able to tell me, well, prove it. Why is it 100,000? Why is it not 87 or 104 or 250? And we have to prove where that came from. So that's what I mean by clarifying with the Life by Design. The priorities, these are your 3 areas that you're really going to focus on to grow your business. And then the strategies are the specific action areas that you are going to focus on to reach your priorities, right? So if I run through this, you put down whatever your goal is, right? Whether it's to make X amount of money, whether it is for you to sell so many units for the year, whatever it is, right? We can talk about it, but that's where your goal goes. Now, your 3 priorities are your systems, your tools, and your people in that order. Remember that the GPS is laid out in order of priorities, right? So you have to earn the right to work on the next one, okay? So focusing on the first priority, systems, you're going to start with developing out your lead gen system, then your seller system, your buyer system, your financial system, and your growth system in that order. If you look at the bottom here, I put some notes for you to start to understand that. Reminder of why we're doing systems. You have to systematize your customer experience. If you don't, it's going to be different every time. Well, we don't want it different every time. We want every person that comes through your business to get the same great experience from beginning to end, right? So it is recommended that your lead gen system is a 30-day wheel. What does that mean? That means in November, it does this, goes all the way through. It starts over in December, right? So what you're saying is, I'm going to do this thing 1 time per month, whatever that is. Send out a newsletter, send out a recipe card. I don't know what, right? But you're going to do the same thing once a month. You're going to do something every other week. So I'm going to do this twice a month, right? So maybe that's a lead gen, maybe that's a smart plan, maybe that is sending out a specific email, right? Maybe the once a month is an event, right? There's all kinds of things that we can dig into on this. Then you're going to do something every week, right? So something happens every week, and then you're going to do something every day, right? Remember, we're talking about systems and systematizing, right? So I do something every day when it comes to lead gen. I do something once a week. That happens every month. I do something every other week. I do something every month. And I do that through the whole year. The problem people run into is they get some business going, they get busy, running the business, right? They don't remember that they have to grow the business, and they stop doing it. That consistency falls off. Your lead generation system must be systematized. It must be consistent, or it won't work. Okay. The seller and buyer systems are both finite. Well, what do I mean by that? It means that there's a beginning and there's an end. From the time I get somebody who wants to be a seller or a buyer, there are certain steps that they go through this process, getting them all the way to the closing table. And we want that to be the same for every person. So that way, when people are talking about us, they don't go, oh, well, he didn't do that for me. Well, she didn't do that for me. That was different. We want it to be the same. We want high caliber customer service every time. Your financial system is much like the lead gen system in the fact that it is a 30-day wheel. So, it's recommended you visit your money every Friday, right? That doesn't mean go stare at your bank account. That means go look at what's your net worth, what are your assets, what are your liabilities? Do you have a profit and loss system, right? Do you have a profit and loss statement that you're looking at? Are you comparing it to your budget on what you spent this month? Money in, money out. Well, I do that every month, so I make sure that I'm consistent on what I'm doing. And then lastly, the growth system. This again is a finite system, meaning it has a beginning and an end, right? So this is the leverage series through Keller Williams, right? Career visioning, success through others, right? There's a whole system built around how do you hire people. But you don't need to hire right away until you're starting to grow your business on your own and you can no longer deal with it on your own. Okay, so that's your first one. That's your priority one, is just getting your systems in place. Priority two is tools. So we'll scroll down and look at the notes here in just a minute, but I'm gonna run through these first. So strategy one is command. Strategy two is your websites and landing pages. Strategy three is your app. Strategy four is collateral material. And strategy five is target tools. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down so we can see the notes on these. Oops, there we go, right? So what is the purpose of the tools? It's to drive your systems. It's to make sure that your systems are operating at its highest level, right? So a couple quick little bullet point notes. Command is your most important tool. If you are not using command at its highest level, you are leaving money on the table. So make sure, get on YouTube, follow the latest 66-day challenge for command, become a command expert, and you'll be able to leverage a lot of your activities that you need in your seller system, your buyer system, etc., onto command. Okay. Number two, quick little notes, collateral material, anything that you're using to educate or persuade, right? A buyer guide for next year, a selling guide, an investment guide, relocation packets, 47 things you need to sell your home. How do you spruce it up? Tips for staging, right? How to get your home ready to sell in the spring. Whatever those are, branded to you. Again, you can use command to send these out, right? And then the last one is target tools, right? So the example used is, let's say you're going to start doing videos and you're going to do YouTube at a high level. Well, you're going to need a good camera. You're going to need some editing software. Those are tools that you need for maybe your seller system, right? You're going to do big videos to send out to your sellers, or maybe you're going to do videos for your lead gen system. Well, you're going to need some tools to do that. If that's not your thing, you don't need to go out and buy a nice digital camera. You don't need to buy video editing software. You can live without that because that's not part of your system. Okay, so that's what we're talking about with that. And then lastly, the people, right? So strategy one is your CEO/listing agent. If you are a single agent, you are the CEO. You are the listing agent. You are the everything, right? Strategy two, this is going through that organizational model. Your first couple hires, so strategy two and strategy three are both admins. So your first admin, then the second admin is your transaction coordinator. If you're not to the point where you're in priority 1 systems and growth system strategy 5, you haven't grown enough, you don't need an admin. You don't need people working for you. So instead, we challenge you to go find core advocates. So core advocate 1, core advocate 2. If you look down at the next strategy, core advocate 3, finding people that are your biggest supporters. They're your ride and dies. They are your mom jumping up and down saying, you've got to call my son because he's an amazing agent. Who are the people who are advocating for you to grow your business? That's what we're talking about with core advocates, right? If you are in a growth strategy, that third hire becomes a buyer's agent. Maybe you do a showing agent first. And then the last strategy is, once you're growing, right, you need to make sure you have a coach in your world. So we point you towards MAPS coaching. If you are a single agent, you can go through like my program of productivity coaching, right? But having somebody who's there as your partner to help make sure they're keeping you on track with all of these things. Okay. So again, here's our GPS, right? We are going through a business plan. We're getting you systematized. We're getting it where it's consistent all the way across the board. Well, how do you do that if you don't have a vision to lay that out? This right here is your vision, guys. Follow this, and it's going to start getting you going the right direction. As always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to give me a call. I'll be happy to help you and walk you through this at a more in-depth level if you would like. Talk to you soon.